All right, here's the third and last video for designing our stool for the CNC machine. So now we're going to do the last leg of our stool. You can see it looks the exact same shape, right? The only difference is we have that gap now at the bottom because the other one we made will go like this. This one's going to come up, and those two pieces should fit perfectly in there. And then we use the zip tie, or sorry, not the zip tie, the bungee cord to connect them. But this is what we're going to create. Now, as you can see, same dimensions, 14, 16 tall, 11 and a half at the top. We really only need to change one little piece here. So instead of creating an entire new top, I'm going to show you how we can use what we had before to play with, so we at least have the same template and we can go from there. So we're going to go ahead and open up the file we just made a little while ago, or whenever you last watched the video. And what we're going to do is we're going to go up here and we're going to go to File, and I'm going to go to Save As, and I want to change this and just change it to Stool Bottom 2. And I'm going to say, oh, I have one made already like that. So I'm going to say, just for the video sense, I'm going to say Stool Bottom 2. And the only reason I'm doing that is so I don't mess up a previous one I did of this exact file. So now that I did that, one thing I'll show you is if I close this, the file that we did have, Stool Bottom 1, isn't messed with. It's exactly the same. But now when I open up the other one that I just made a copy of, it's going to look exactly the same too, but now we can play with it. So this way we kind of saved ourselves from having to start all the way over. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go to this tool path, right click, and delete this. So we just see our shape. So now what we can do is now we can take our shape and we can start to render it. So the only thing we have to do differently is we have to fill in this line and get rid of this. And then we're going to move a rectangle to the bottom. So let's start by getting rid of this line here. So the first thing I'm going to do is click off. Remember, we can make lines. So we're going to go here to that draw line tool. And we're going to draw that line from this point to the other point. And when we click off and click close, now we have a line that goes across. So we just closed up that gap. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our editing tool, our trimming tool. Let's trim away that rectangle. So now again, we're going to hit Control A so we have everything highlighted. We're going to check our validator, and we're going to see that there's no issues. We did it perfectly. Nice job, everyone. Pat on the back. Pat, 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 pat. All right, last thing we have to do now is we have to put in the gap that's going to come from the bottom. So what I'm going to do to make sure this is right at the bottom is we are going to have to make sure we line everything up perfectly. It actually won't be too hard. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to making a rectangle. We can still keep making our rectangle in the center. So now what we're going to do is we're going to keep it at a 1/2 inch. You can see it's saved from the last time we did a rectangle, and that was for that rectangle piece at the top that we just closed off. But now what we're going to do is we're going to make it a little longer. So remember that the height of our stool here is 16 inches. And what we have is we have, in the previous one, we made a 6-inch drop to the bottom. So what we need to make sure we do is we're going to put a gap that goes up from the bottom of here, and it's got to be able to connect all the way from the other one. So this one was 6 inches down. What we need to do is go from the bottom, which is 10 inches up, and that should put the two little pieces they're going to be able to connect. So we're going to go ahead and change this from 6 inches to 10 inches. We're going to hit create. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to align these two things so that this is at the bottom. So what I want to do is I'm going to take our rectangle and I'm going to drag it down. We know it's kind of center, but I want to make sure it lines up perfectly on the bottom line. So I'm going to zoom in with my mouse. I'm going to make sure that that line is right on the bottom of our base, just like that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to the align piece, and I just want to align it left and right so that it's centered. But I do want to make sure it's right on that bottom. That's why I put it there. So if I click this, voila, we have our piece right at the center, and it's at the bottom, right in line with our base. So that's what we want. So we're going to click close. So again, now we have overlapping lines. So we need to get rid of those overlapping lines so that we just have a nice gap right here above that half circle. So, yep, we're going to grab that trim tool. We're going to trim up all the lines we don't want visible. So that little rectangle is gone and that connecting piece there is gone. So again, we're going to Control A, highlight it all, and we're going to check for validation. No issues, we're good to go. So we saved ourselves a lot of time with the second piece because it was all kind of made already. We just had to kind of move one piece down. And you can see it was only a couple snips here and a move there, and we made one vector. So now it's time to tool it. So we're going to go back to tool paths here, and we're going to do the same exact tool path as we did on the previous one. So go ahead and select Profile Toolpath. I'll get myself out of the way here. Just highlight back over that toolpath there. I want the same cut depth, 0.51, same tool, 1/4 inch end mill, so it's just a straight bit. And we're going to go to Calculate. And yes, I know we're going to cut through. And we're going to go ahead and again, I'm going to slow the speed down so you can see how it works. This is how it's going to go. So the machine always starts in the bottom corner, so the bit moves the least amount it can over to here, and you can see as it's going that it's cutting in just a little bit each time. And you can see that our gap is just going to be a little wider than that 1/2 inch, so everything's going to be consistent because as long as we did the same thing to both stool pieces, we'll be good to go. We'll speed that up so it can be done soon. Bum, 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 bum. Perfect. So now we're going to close this. Again, we're going to save this. You're going to have 3 files now on your flash drive. So we're going to go to Save Toolpath. And again, you're going to save yours as a .tap file. Yours, mine says G-code arcs. Yours is probably going to say something like Shark new wave or Shark CNC. But anyways, as long as it's .tap and it's based on inches, we'll be good to go. So I'm going to click the files, and now we can click Save. And this time we're going to save ours as Singer Stool Leg 2. So we have 3 files now. We have the top, the one leg, and the second leg. And the next step is to cut 3 pieces of wood based on what we've shown you in the video. So a 12 inch by 12 inch square and 2 15 for the 3/4 inch thick piece of wood. And then a 15 by 17 inch piece for the that are 1/2 inches for the legs. We'll put them on the CNC machine. The CNC machine will run all the work for us. We'll show you how that all works. And then you'll have yourself a stool once you sand it and make it painted and make it look like yours. So again, if you have any questions on making this video, just ask. We'll give you a hand. Good luck.